In the last video, we took a look at our first couple of directives, ngShow and ngHide. In this video, we're going to take a look at another different directive, the incredibly useful ngRepeat. ngRepeat is used for repeating the items of a model several times over on a page. You add it to the li, for example, of a list, and it will use that li as a template for each of the repeated items in the model. To start with, we're going to create a tiny little app that displays us a list of names based on a model specified in the controller. So you can see in the example I have here that I have Angular on the page, and I have created a div which is controlled by the list controller, and the list controller is specified in the script tag down the bottom, and it's taking a scope parameter that Angular supplies. Before we get this hooked up, I'm going to sketch out what I think the DOM should be for this particular app. So it's going to be an unordered list and have several LIs in it with different names. I'll use Jeffrey, and I'll use Dan, and let's say David. So you can see that now we've sketched out this DOM, we can kind of understand what it is we need Angular to do. We need Angular to repeat each li for a list of names, and we're going to specify the list of names in the controller. So I'm going to create this list. I'll give the scope variable a new property called names, which is our model, and this model is an array. So far we've only really seen strings in models, but models can be anything. They can be arrays or objects. So I'm going to put our list of names in here: Tom, Jeffrey, and we have Dan, and we have David. Now I'm going to delete out these LIs, just leaving the first one. This first li is going to be used by Angular as the template for our ngRepeat attribute. That is, it's going to repeat the contents of this li several times over for each item in the list that we give it. Angular has a special syntax for doing that. I'll add the ngRepeat attribute to the li, and you can see immediately it disappears because we haven't told Angular what it is we want to repeat. Angular has a special syntax for repeating. So I'm going to say we want to extract each name in the names model. And you can see straight away that now we're repeating 4 times. But we're repeating the word Tom 4 times. That's because we haven't told Angular what data we want inside the li. So I'm going to use a template and insert the name directly into the li. And you can see straight away that this list is updated with each of the names in our list down here. When I add a new one, let's say Peter, this gets added at the bottom. So I said in this video I'd introduce you to filters. What I'd like to do is be able to search this list for a particular letter or a value or a person. Angular makes this incredibly easy with its filter syntax. But first we need something to filter on, so I'm going to create a new div with an input of type search. It doesn't really need to be search, but it just adds some default styling that I think is suitable. Then I'm going to give this a model and call the model search. And now we have a little search box up here. Next I'm going to use Angular's filter syntax to filter the list of names according to the contents of the search box. To do this, I use the pipe and say filter on the search model. As soon as I start typing in here, you're going to see that it filters out the names. So I type a D and it will filter for only the names that contain a D. It's actually just that simple. I can type T and we get the things with T in it, or an E, we get those with E, and Tom and I get the just me. If I type gibberish in here, then you can see we get nothing because nothing matches. Angular is looking through each item in the array and matching it against the contents of the search. And you can see that it's case insensitive because I can put in a lowercase t and it matches Tom, which has an uppercase T. The values of the names array don't just have to be strings. We can actually make each of these an object, and that's what I'm going to do now to show you how cool Angular filters really are. So I'll convert this into an object and say that Tom has a name and give him an age of 20. Again, I'll say Jeffrey's name and then we'll give him an age of 30. Oh, I've misspelled that. And I've just filled out the others to save time. Now you can see that we are missing values from here. That's because we haven't told Angular how to display this information. I'm actually going to swap out the names model for the word people, because what we really have here is a list of people, and I'll change it here in this repeater too. But you can see that still nothing is being output. That's because we haven't specified what we want to display. I'll change this to person, so that we're repeating for each person in the list of people, and then say what we want to display is the person.name. Now I seem to have a bug here, so I'll jump into the console and see what the problem is. Unexpected token. So I think I might be missing a comma or somewhere. Oh look, I'm missing a curly brace there. So now you can see that we have our list of people. We're repeating each person in the list of people, and we're outputting the person.name. Person is in this inside the li, this whole object, and so we can also use the person's age, as I'll do now. Let me just quickly reformat this, and then show the person.age. And now we have the person's name and their age. Amazingly, the Angular filter still works. I can still filter for the letter T, and also for, say, people who are 40 years old. This is because Angular knows that person is an object, and it will go searching on each of the properties of the object for the value in the search filter. Hopefully you're beginning to see how models, which are lists of objects, can be used to build powerful interfaces using Angular. In the next video, we're going to look at another directive, ngClick, which lets us listen for and take action when someone clicks.